What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite YouTuber, Austin Holloman, and we are back with another informative travel review video. What is a travel review video? That means after all these 24 countries and 45 cities I've been to around the world, I am giving my hypothesis, or my conclusion, I guess I could say, on my research and experience throughout going to all these places. So if you guys have not already, hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already. It's free to do both of those things. Let's get into the topic. So today we're going to talk about the large city versus mid-sized city versus the small city dating experiences. This method. I'm bringing this up because I've heard Casey Redbeard rant. Shout out to him. That's a good friend of mine. We talk every day. And I heard him bring up a strategy of the small town method. And we'll get down to that at the end of the video. So make sure you guys stick through for that. I'm going to give you guys my honest experience, and hopefully this helps you guys start your journey, because I'm going to clear up some things that weren't true for me but may be true for other people. And just know that there's other factors that always play into these things that might make your experience different. We're all different people, so hey, maybe it didn't work for me and it will work for you, or maybe it did not work for me, or vice versa, right? So let's start with the large cities. What is a large city? In my opinion, a large city is when you start getting to 5 million plus people. Some examples of that are Lima, Peru, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Santiago, Chile, Nairobi, Kenya. Now, those 4 cities I just named off, 2 of them did not have the best dating experiences. The other 2 had some of the best dating experiences I've ever had in my life. But they're all large cities. That's why I said there's other factors that play into it. Now, let's give a couple examples on each one. So let's say a large city like Sao Paulo, 17 to damn near 20 million people. It's a lot of people either way it goes in Sao Paulo. It's I think it's the most populated city and metropolitan area I've ever been to in my life. I think the only one out doing that one is maybe Mexico City and Japan, Tokyo, Japan, right? Now, if you guys go to a large city like Sao Paulo, here's the issue. Large cities usually have a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of women. Yes, there's also a lot of men. What does that mean? That means there's a lot of competition. Usually, and let's take another factor, Sao Paulo is not a poor city. They have 65 billionaires that live there. So the more people that live there, the more money that's being made there, that changes your experience, because women have options. Versus if you go to a place that maybe is highly populated, like Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, that a lot of people are not rich like they are in Sao Paulo, you'll have a different experience there. So you have more competition. Women have more events that they go to. They have concerts every weekend. They have yoga classes and stuff. Like, there's some places that are so small that I've been to where I was lucky if I found a movie theater. So those women don't have as much stuff to do there, right? Usually in big cities, women tend to work a lot more. They tend to work in Sao Paulo. They work in most of these other countries. People work every day, all day, it seems like. But in the big cities, they do work a lot more. These women have a group of friends, and those friends have the same options of things to do on a daily basis that would interfere with how much time she has to spend with you. Now, this was my experience in Sao Paulo. Doesn't mean that I was just dry over there, but I had to do a lot of volume. I had to do a lot of approaching, a lot of dating apps, I had to have a second job to get dates there. Now, there's some people that would tell you that, I went to Sao Paulo and I cleaned up. Or maybe they haven't even been to Sao Paulo and they know a lot about it. Don't believe them. Believe me, I'm your only friend. Those dudes are paying for sex. That's why they clean up. I'm actually going there taking the initiative to approach, go on dates, get to know these chicks. I can still call these chicks. I know them. They're not just wham, bam, goodbye, ma'am. They're not them. This is real life dating. I think a lot of my subscribers are done with American women, and they're not. I mean, some of you guys are looking to just go around paying for sex, but some of you guys are actually looking to meet women that you can actually enjoy being around. And that's why I believe that, I don't even believe, I know that my content is valuable to those men in the United States that want to get out. So if you go to a large city like that, just know. Now, that was Sao Paulo. That was what Santiago, Chile was like for me too. I had some success. I actually loved Santiago, Chile. I loved the city. But when it came to the dating aspect, it was a lot of volume. It was a lot of stuff I had to do. And I had to learn how to, okay, how can I figure this out? I had to learn that, right? Now, on the contrary, a place like Lima, Peru, or Nairobi, Kenya, I believe Nairobi has around 5 million people, maybe 6 million people. I cleaned up there though. I was had you guys know about Nairobi, Kenya, and Austin, Holman. I was having a good time there. I was having a really good time dating there. Same thing with Lima, Peru. Now, why do I believe that is? I'm not. We're gonna get to Nairobi in a second, but Lima, Peru, the competition from the local men, yeah, not really very much competition. Not much competition. Lima, Peru has around 9 million people living in it when they checked in 2022, so it's probably 10 million now. But there's not a lot to do there. Like, it's a large city with a big population, but there's not really a lot going. You're not going to have that much competition. So those are some external factors that made a difference in that. Right? Now, you even have Nairobi, Kenya. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's parties every night. There's events every day. There's several malls. The women have groups of friends. They definitely have groups of friends in Nairobi, Kenya. And there's a lot of guys to compete with. But for some reason in that city, maybe I just fit the beauty standard and a lot of chicks found me attractive, or it was something else. So just know that just because it's a large city does not mean you'll always have the same problems that you had in the last large city. The problems that I had in Sao Paulo, women flaking on dates and, kind of just disappearing because they had a lot of options. I didn't have that problem in Nairobi, but they're both large cities. So it literally is an individual. I mean, you can generalize the large city thing, but it still boils down to, okay, who are you? Like, are you not what they're looking for, in that city? Or are you not what those women are checking for in that city? Then you may have a negative experience or not so favorable experience. But if you're what they're checking for, then yeah, I'm assuming that in Nairobi, Kenya, based off my experiences, I was the one they were checking for. So I had a great time there, even though it was a large city and there was all those external factors. And there's plenty of competition from the locals and other expats. There's a lot of people from around the world in Nairobi, Kenya. But that didn't seem to do anything to my experience. If you guys want to know about each individual city, I've been to 45 cities around the world of all sizes. I've been to damn near villages in the Philippines. I've been to a lot of places, right? If you guys want to know about those places, I have some products that would be tagged below. There is dating playbooks that I have over a few major cities that I've been to and a few mid-sized and small cities that I've been to. I tell you guys exactly the strategy I use to succeed, even if it was difficult there. Or there is one-on-one coaching, and you can book a consultation that will not be free because I do not need people wasting my time. I only want serious inquiries, and we will have a 12-month program on how to pick the right place, what you should expect when you get there, how to immerse yourself in the culture, how you can get remote income, and how I save money on taxes, how I budget my money while I'm abroad. Everything that comes to living abroad, I will teach you one-on-one. If you're interested in my coaching, that will be below, and you can book a consultation. We can get started for what's right for you. Remember, this is a high-ticket item, so if you guys do not have your finances stably together, this may not be for you. Or more than likely, it's not for you. But just call and see what we can work out. Now, mid-sized cities. What is an example of a mid-sized city? A place like Montevideo, Uruguay. A place like Salvador Bahia, which is one of my favorites. Manaus, Brazil is also another one of my favorites. Right? What else is another? Recife. I'd say a mid-sized city is anywhere from 1 to 4 million people, meaning that it's not a small town. Everybody's not going to know everybody, but it's still in the millions, 1 to 4 million people. Now, my experience, like a place like Salvador Bahia, usually mid-sized cities is where I cleaned up the most outside of Nairobi, right? And Lima, Peru. Why is that? The chicks do have options there, but usually there's less options. Usually there's less foreigners. You're not going to convince me that there's more foreigners in Salvador Bahia as opposed to Sao Paulo, where the population is damn near 5 times larger, or it's 6 or 7 times larger. 2,000 Americans can show up in Sao Paulo and nobody would even notice the difference. Like, you're not going to convince me that 2,000 Americans makes it. It just doesn't work that way, right? So if you go to these cities, more than likely you can hear women that, oh, I've never met a foreigner before. Yeah, you're not going to hear that from a chick in Sao Paulo. But a chick in Salvador Bahia, yes, you would hear that, hey, I've never met a gringo before. Usually these women are less flaky. They have less going on throughout the day. The work culture is usually very in your favor, or it's more relaxed, meaning that they won't always, they're not working so much where they don't have time for you. When I was in Santiago, I found that, damn, I can't even like get these, they're always at work. And if they're not at work, they have for like, they can't even squeeze me in. But when I was in Salvador Bahia, I found that to be less of a problem. Same thing in Montevideo, Uruguay. Right? Same thing, and here's another one in Cali, Colombia. You know, every chick that I got her number, I went on a date with her in Cali, Colombia. You know, there's not a lot going on. And honestly, in those cities, if you're a digital nomad or if you want to be an expat, you either need to be ready to retire at a place like Cali, Colombia, or you need to have a full-time job to keep you busy. Same thing with Manaus. And Manaus is even worse with how boring it is. There's nothing really going on in those cities. In Cali, Colombia, and Manaus, there's not really nothing going on. And especially if you don't have a circle of local friends or other American expats there. So keep that in mind. Now, in my opinion, my favorite is the mid-sized city because it's not too boring like a small town, but it's not so busy where it's like, shit, I just need to get a girlfriend and just lock it down. Like, if I wanted to just date around, I would do that in a mid-sized city and not a large city. It sounds ironic because he's like, oh, more women? I can date more in Sao Paulo. Yeah, there's more women, but there's also more men. She has more people. This is kind of not that hard to understand, is what I'm trying to tell you. So if we go to a small town, very, very small town, right? A place like Ozomis, which is a small, rundown province I went to in the Philippines with Floyd. I don't think I would go back there. And the reason I don't like these small towns is, and I would say a small town is less than 1 million people. The reason I don't like those, and it's even worse if it's like 100,000 people. The reason I don't like those small towns is because, number one, you will be bored out of your mind. I'm pretty sure if you guys play video games, you play the PlayStation. I don't, but I'm just saying for reference. If you broke your PlayStation, good luck finding another one. Like, they're not as convenient. Usually, the gyms won't be up to par like they would in a large city or a mid-sized city. It's less resourceful. You know, I like to smoke cigars. If I go to a small town, usually the smaller the town, the less cigars, the less likely I am to find cigars. I mean, if I smoke cigarettes, yeah, you can find that everywhere. But cigars, not really in a small town. You know, usually there's no direct flights going into small towns. Usually, here's the thing. Usually in small towns, the women are more conservative. Meaning that if you think you're going to go just date around, you might be able to do that. You might be able to run through a bunch of chicks and then it'll stop at some point. You'll do it, stop. Too many people know each other. Now people are gossiping about you because everybody knows each other. Most of those chicks are, like I said, conservative, and they're going to want a relationship because there's not much going on. There's not even much economic opportunities, so those women are usually more dependent on men the smaller the town. So if you guys are looking for a girlfriend or a wife, yeah, you probably better off. You could probably have a better chance of finding that in some small town in Brazil as opposed to going to Sao Paulo. That doesn't mean you can't find in Sao Paulo. It just depends on, you know, how much competition do you want to deal with? How fast do you want to find it? Also, in smaller towns, you're less likely to be cheated on. If you are in Sao Paulo, and let's say you've seen a girl that you really like twice a week, you better believe those other 4 days, she's probably 5 days out of the week, she's probably getting smashed by somebody else. I mean, it's just reality. Like, it's so many people, she knows that you would never know. Like, that's a problem in Los Angeles. You could have a girlfriend, you could live on the west side of town in Los Angeles and have a girlfriend on the eastern side, and they would never find out because there's so many people there and the city's so big. So, in my opinion, expert level people will go to a large city like Sao Paulo, and you are willing to put up with some problems that may have been similar to what you were trying to get away in the States. Maybe they're not as bad, but they're similar. Are you willing to deal with that? Is what you have to ask yourself. If not, go down a notch and go to a mid-sized city. Just know that there'll be less things to do and stuff like that. Everything that I mentioned before. If you guys are ready to retire, you don't want to see any Americans, go to a small town like Ozomis in the Philippines. Yeah, those chicks wouldn't even. Small towns is whenever I'm ready to settle down and sit down in one place permanently, I could possibly do a small town. But then again, I love my cigars. I love having the little events to go to sometime throughout the week. I love being able to walk everywhere because there's so many people that they have to build a lot of stuff to make it suitable for a lot of people. You know, if I want to buy a car at some point, you probably got a better shot at buying a nice car in Sao Paulo than you do in some rink-a-dink small town in Brazil with 100,000 people living there. You're not going to find too many car dealerships as you would in Sao Paulo. You won't have the variety. So it's a quality of life thing and dating that comes into play if you're an expat or a digital nomad. Let me know what you guys think about that list and how I broke it down. Yes, you will have more of a... Also, this is another thing I meant to mention. You will have more of a wow factor. Like, oh my gosh, I've never met a foreign. Like, if you go to Salvador, you will get that. But if you go to a small town 3-4 hours outside of Salvador, way into the interior by here, I'm pretty sure you'll hear that on steroids. Probably everybody you meet will be like, I've never met an American, you know? But is it really worth it? You know, is it really worth trading your quality of life? Because you won't be doing shit. You know, smashing a bunch of chicks is cool, and then okay, it's like, okay, well, now I want to go watch a movie. Oh, they don't have a movie theater here. You know, little shit like that will start to kick in. So if you're a weekend, and also if you're a weekend warrior, you just want to go somewhere and hook up with a bunch of chicks, yeah, don't go to a small town. Don't go to go to a mid-sized place, okay? Let me know what you guys think about that list that I brought you guys. Again, if you guys want that one-on-one coaching, it will be below. If you found that informative or entertaining for whatever reason that may have been entertaining, you can tip me with a super thanks below. And my Cash App is $Austin Holloman, PayPal and Zelle, AustinHolloman@gmail. I love you guys. I would love to see you guys' comments. Share this with somebody that may find it useful. Hopefully this helps you with your trips that you're planning, and I will see you guys next time.